You ever wonder about the architects of our digital world? You know, the people who are actually building the foundations that everything runs on? Well, today, we're laying out the complete blueprint for one of the most critical roles in all of tech, data engineering. So, let's get building. I mean, it sounds so simple, right? But just let that sink in for a second. Every single app you open, every time you buy something online, every time you swipe your card, all of it is creating data. This isn't just some buzzword, it's the invisible engine that's literally driving our entire modern world.
Exactly. It doesn't just happen by magic. Behind all that seamless tech, there are real architects and builders creating these huge, complex pipelines that move, clean, and prep all this information so it can actually be useful. And those builders? Well, those are data engineers.
So if you really want to get what a data engineer does, you've got to look at the blueprint they work from. Think of this next part as the master plan for pretty much any modern data platform. It shows the whole journey from messy, raw data all the way to a game-changing insight. Okay, so it all kicks off with ingestion. That's just pulling raw data from all over the place. Then comes storage and processing. This is where all that data lands in a central spot, which today is usually something called a lakehouse. It's this really clever combo of a massive data lake and a structured data warehouse. After that, it's on to warehousing and analysis for business intelligence tools to slice and dice. And finally, the whole point, delivering insights, where that clean data powers everything from machine learning models to the apps on your phone. So, with all that data flying around, how do you make sure it's actually any good? That's where this brilliant idea called the medallion architecture comes into play. Just think of it like you're refining gold. Data first shows up raw, totally untouched. That's your bronze table. Then you clean it up, validate it, and give it some structure. Now it's in a silver table. And finally, you aggregate it into these beautiful, business-ready, highly refined gold tables. That's the stuff that's perfect for analytics. It's a genius way to guarantee your data is trustworthy. Okay, so you've seen the blueprint for the system. Now, how do you build a career with it? Let's switch gears and look at the career roadmap, mapping out the path from your very first gig all the way to becoming a top-tier expert. So where do you start? Well, a lot of folks get their foot in the door as a data analyst or maybe an ETL developer, where you're really mastering SQL and building reports. The big jump to data engineer happens when you start owning the data pipelines themselves. Once you're a senior engineer, you're not just building, you're designing and optimizing these complex systems. And that experience is what can launch you to a data architect, where you're designing the entire blueprint, or into a specialized role like an ML engineer, building the data backbone for AI. Every great builder needs a solid toolkit, right? This next part is all about the essential skills and technologies you've absolutely got to have in your tool belt to climb that career ladder. All right, listen up, because these are the non-negotiables. Advanced SQL is your bedrock. Python is your go-to power tool. You absolutely have to be good with at least one of the major cloud platforms. That's where everything is happening now. And of course, you need to master your ETL tools to move the data around and data modeling to make sure it all makes sense. And here's the best part. You don't have to learn everything all at once. It's a journey. You start with that solid beginner stack on the left, really nailing SQL, Python, and a standard database. But as you grow, you'll graduate to the more advanced stuff on the right, tackling real-time data streaming with tools like Kafka, and eventually deploying your work with sophisticated systems like Kubernetes. Look, knowing the theory is one thing, but what really gets you hired? Proving you can actually build stuff. This is where projects and certifications become your secret weapons. They are the tangible proof that will make you stand out from the crowd. Seriously, don't just list skills on your resume, build something real. How about a customer 360 dashboard using Snowflake? Or what about engineering a live IoT pipeline with Kafka? Maybe even build a fraud detection system. Projects like these show that you can take these tools and solve the real messy problems that companies are desperate to fix. But here's the step that everyone misses. Don't just build it and hide it on your computer. Get it up on GitHub. Write a clear description explaining what you built and why. This becomes your living, breathing portfolio that you can show directly to a hiring manager. Trust me, a good GitHub profile is worth way more than a piece of paper. Certifications are another great way to prove you know your stuff. Getting certified by one of the big three cloud providers, AWS, Azure, or Google, is a huge stamp of approval. And if you want to specialize, getting a cert from a company like Databricks or Snowflake shows you have deep expertise in the exact tools that companies are hiring for right this second.
All right, let's get to the good stuff. Let's talk about the payoff. Why would you go on this whole journey? We're going to look at the kind of value and salary you can expect, and then I'll leave you with some final advice to get you moving.
So yeah, let's talk about that payoff. The financial rewards in this field are, well, they're pretty significant. Just take a look at this chart. The salary progression is steep. You start off strong as a data engineer, and you see these huge jumps as you climb into senior and architect roles. This is one of those careers that really rewards deep expertise.
Now for some really important advice. It is so easy to get stuck in what they call tutorial hell, where you feel like you just need to learn one more thing before you can start. Don't fall for it. The single best way to learn this stuff is to get your hands dirty and build something. Pick a project, any project, and start today. And here's something they don't always tell you. Your technical skills might get you the job, but it's your soft skills that are going to get you promoted. Being able to explain a really complex data system to someone who isn't technical, that's a superpower. It's what separates a good engineer from a truly great one.
And finally, I want you to remember this. Everyone is going crazy about AI right now, right? But what do you think powers all those fancy AI models? Data. Clean, reliable, well-structured data. You can't have AI engineering without strong data engineering first. It's the foundation for the entire revolution. This career isn't just relevant today, it's absolutely essential for tomorrow.
So, the world runs on data, sure. But the future? The future is going to be built and run by the engineers who actually understand that data. The blueprint is right here, in your hands. So, what are you going to build?